Chosen one, pause right here. Do not scroll past this moment. Heaven itself has stopped you in your tracks because this word was written with your name on it. You've wondered your whole life. Why do I feel different? Why does my path feel heavier than others? Now the answer is clear. It's because you were never meant to blend in. You were marked before birth, chosen to carry a destiny that others cannot. Every silent tear, every hidden battle, every lonely night, it was not punishment, it was preparation. Even Elon Musk knows what it means to be misunderstood. He carried visions of rockets when the world laughed. He saw electric cars when others mocked. And yet, every rejection only proved his purpose. Now imagine this. Musk, a man who reshaped technology, legally taking on your name. Why? Because heaven is declaring a truth. What was mocked will now be magnified. What was hidden will now be revealed. You're not just another soul. You are the blueprint of divine destiny. The fact that you're reading this right now means the seal has been broken, the timing unlocked. Heaven is whispering, you are next. You are chosen. You are seen. How many times should you have been wrecked by the storm? How many times should you have been silenced by despair? Nevertheless, you continue to stand, breathe, and seek the truth. That is proof that you are safe since you were picked. The clearest indication that you are destined for greater is your survival. The word of God is found in Psalms chapter 23, verse 4. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. That is why this moment feels heavy in your spirit. You sense the urgency. You feel the pull. Do not ignore it. Many will dismiss this and keep scrolling, but you cannot. You feel the Spirit pressing on you because this word is yours. You have asked God for a sign, and here it is. The timing, the words, the fire burning in your heart. It is all heaven's way of saying, Beloved, I am speaking to you. No, you've always been aware of your uniqueness. There is something inexplicable about you, even when others misinterpreted you, thought you were weak, or made fun of your quiet. The mark of God is that thing. Before time ever started, you were selected. Your spirit yearned for truth, while others sought acceptability. You look for lasting significance, while others content themselves with fleeting pleasures. Your calling is evident in that yearning alone. And here you are, discovered at this very time, not by chance but by divine design. Depending on whether you choose to accept this message, it will either completely awaken you or ignore you. Don't ignore it. This is more than just words, and you know it in your soul. A heavenly alarm is going off just for you. Selected one. I have to be honest with you. You are marked, which is why you have resistance in your life. Your light has always been acknowledged by darkness. Even if you were unable to, what tries to destroy you is frightened of you. Because of this, you experience storms that others did not. Because of this, while you were just trying to live, fights seem to be chasing you. The battle for your life is proof of your value. You are carrying something that hell dreads and heaven cherishes. I'll call you now to answer. Now is not the time to be quiet. Now is the time to make a statement, act, and unite. Don't allow doubt prevent you from experiencing what God is revealing. Raise your hand in trust. Raise your voice in submission. And let your behavior to demonstrate your readiness. Spread the word so that more will wake up. To make this word reverberate even more, click like. In order to stay up to date with God's message throughout this season, subscribe. Additionally, include the number 777 in the comments 37s as a prophetic act of alignment. The pinnacle of your chosen vocation, the number of heavenly fulfillment. Type Amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. For the sake of penetrating your spirit with this truth, heaven has halted everything around you. You have been selected. You've been marked. And there's a reason you're here right now. Don't leave unaltered. Enter your appointment with confidence. Because, chosen one, this is the first step in discovering who you really are. Consider the burden you have endured throughout the years. Sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, wondering whether anybody really knows what it takes to be you. Few people are aware of the quiet battles you wage within, despite the fact that they may see your strength, smile, and ability to keep things together. The tears that wet your pillow while no one was looking are unknown to them. They are unaware of the burden you bore while continuing to seem for others as if nothing were amiss. In actuality, heaven has seen everything. Every weight you carried, every inarticulate groan, and every sob you attempted to stifle was not disregarded. You were never left in those valleys by the God who selected you. The classroom of fate was often what seemed like nothingness. What you believed to be quiet was really strategy, and what seemed to be punishment was molding. You are not weak because of your scars. They're the markings of a person who has survived a fire. Because your calling is unique, your path has carried an uncommon amount of weight. Ordinary routes were never meant for you. It has been a journey of stretching, breaking, recreating, and refining for you. Without the furnace, your inner gold would not be able to shine. Many others could not have survived the flames you have been through. Take a time to look back with clarity rather than shame. Consider the betrayals that caused you to suffer, the doors that slammed in your face, the friendships that ended for no apparent reason. You were devastated by those times. They etched toughness into your bones, nevertheless. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Your tenacity is evidence of your calling. It is not expected of regular individuals to endure extreme agony. However, you're not like the others. You could still wonder, why me? Why did I get to experience everything so strongly? Why was I forced to bear the burden of storms that wrecked me? Scripture's truth contains the solution. The phrase, "I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength," appears in Philippians 4 verse 13. You weren't supposed to be destroyed by the struggles you fought in quiet. You were supposed to be trained by them. Heaven was secretly preparing you. Even though your grief was ridiculed by others, it ended up serving as your mentor. It taught you patience for the tired, knowledge for the perplexed, and compassion for the broken. You learned to identify other people's hurts from your own. Your hardships equipped you to help others overcome theirs. Can you see it now? Preparation was what felt like abandonment. Protection was what seemed like punishment. God's method of protecting you from places you were never supposed to go included some of the things that wounded you the most. Heaven was winning for you, even if you felt like you were losing. You believed that rejection was robbing you, but in reality, it was guiding you, your chosen one. Things that ought to have broken you have happened to you. However, you are alive and breathing as you read this, proving that survival is no minor feat. Others perished in the waves you were taken through. Others were devoured by the fires you bore. You have the witness of someone who cannot be crushed, even if you also bear the memories of those nights. You didn't squander the weight you carried. It is the clearest indication that you are getting ready for something bigger. You won't enter the future with nothing. The knowledge baked in fire will accompany you on your journey. You will take with you the empathy that comes from suffering. You'll walk with the power you gained from your vulnerability. And everyone you meet will experience the depth of someone who has really lived, really persevered, and really been molded by God's hand. Heaven is talking over you even now. You didn't have to fight for nothing. Type amen to embrace the angel's blessings. Show your support by giving super thanks up to $20. Your suffering wasn't in vain. I've seen everything, and I'm incorporating that into your fate. Your soul is stirring as you read because of that whisper. It's more than just words. It is God's voice telling you that He has always been there for you, even when you felt alone. So, chosen one, raise your head and don't hate the burden you bore, because it was proof that heaven was forming a vessel that could contain splendor. What you went through, others could not. You carried something that others could not. You are prepared for the next step because you did. It has been a tremendous burden. It was never useless, however. You weren't crushed. You were made. You weren't ruined. You underwent development. And now, rather of being empty, you stand on the precipice of a new season, yet brimming with knowledge, fortitude, and the fervor that only survivors possess. One day, people will look at you and marvel how you managed to survive. Heaven, however, is already aware. You persevered because you were selected. You are unique, which is why you have always felt different. Darkness was the first to realize this. Have you seen how certain individuals seem uneasy around you even when you don't say anything? Get you ever pondered why some people seem to reject you before they get a chance to get to know you? The reason for this is because your sheer presence casts a light that reveals what is hidden in darkness. You did not choose to do this. You didn't suddenly decide to change who you were. This mark was put on you by heaven before to your first cry. There has been a weight to your presence ever since you came into the world. Even you may not completely comprehend this spiritual power. Environments change when you come because of this. Some doors shut for that reason. Your light cannot cohabit with fake atmospheres, not because you are inadequate. Reflect on the past. Have you not seen instances in your life when unexpected favor was followed by abrupt opposition? Opportunities appeared 1 minute, and then you encountered opposition. That isn't arbitrary. What frightens it is the conflict between your brightness and the darkness. In quiet, darkness flourishes. However, even if you say just a few words, you are not mute. Your soul speaks loudly. Through the prophet Jeremiah, the Spirit communicated. Verse 5 of chapter 1. I knew you before I created you in the womb. I distinguished you before you were born. You were chosen by me to be a prophet to the nations. Your task demands clarity, which is why you're unable to choose the same routes as others. You have to hold your ground while others give in. You have to keep going while others rest. Because of this, your friendships often shift. Why does trying to remain in locations that are no longer suitable for you cause your circle to narrow and your soul to become restless? The hallmark of being selected is the inability to be at ease in fake settings. But this isn't a punishment. It serves as defense. Heaven will not permit contamination of your calling. For this reason, rejection turns into redirection. Endings are thus really beginnings. God often uses what seems like loss to protect the integrity of your goal. Selected one. Your uniqueness is a weapon. It breaks through pretension. It cuts illusions away. It shows what's true. Some people are attracted to you because of this. Your genuineness gives them a feeling of security. However, it's also the reason why many oppose you. Your light makes it impossible for them to conceal their masks. Both answers demonstrate your identity. Please confirm this fact in the comment section below. Enter these words. I'm a light. Don't undervalue the impact of making the announcement in public. You're doing more than simply typing. You're making predictions about your own future. You are rejecting all falsehoods that have attempted to deceive you and aligning your identity with heaven's truth by writing this. You are reminding your soul, stifling the adversary, and proclaiming to everyone that you are unique in a divine way when you write, I carry light. Consider it. You could have spent years trying to make yourself less noticeable in order to fit into places that weren't designed for you. However, you don't shrink once you declare, I carry light. You don't want to say you're sorry for what God put in you. You decide to accept who you are without doubt, fear, or shame. That statement turns out to be pivotal. You'll also notice a change as you go. Comparison will become less significant. The pain of rejection will subside. You will no longer be defined by the pain of miscommunication, because no one can persuade you to take off your crown once you realize that it is your difference. Selected one. There is no need for another copy in the world. It may become what it already is without you. The world needs your special brightness, your special music, and your special fire. Imitation is not required of you. You have been called to light the way. The authenticity of your light is enhanced by every aspect of your life, every hardship you have overcome, and every scar you bear. And keep in mind that light never apologizes for shining. It doesn't beg darkness for permission to exist. It just glows. And when it shines, everything around it transforms. You have been called to accomplish that. Your existence is intended to be a live disruption of evil schemes. Just having you around is war. Allow the words to get ingrained in your heart. I am a light. This is who you are. This is your reality. Because of this, you cannot be disregarded, concealed, or silenced. You in heaven are aware that you are a chosen vessel of divine light, even if others may attempt to explain it away. It has never been an easy fight for your life. Forces of evil have known from the beginning that you have something inside you that cannot be put out. The assaults arrived early because of this. That's why you were discovered by storms when you were young, before you ever had the power to defend yourself. You have experienced conflicts that others were unable to see. Conflicts that went beyond emotional or physical conflict. Have a strong spiritual connection. At times, it could have seemed like you were just unfortunate, as if bad things happened to you for no apparent reason. However, the fact is that your suffering was not random. Darkness dreaded what you were becoming, as shown by every encounter, betrayal, and unexpected storm. You wouldn't have encountered such opposition to your life if you had been normal. However, since you were marked, your life has turned into a battlefield. You have to grasp this really well. Energy is not wasted by darkness on things that pose no harm. Your value is shown by the fact that you encountered unrelenting opposition. When someone has been called to deliver heaven's will to earth, hell puts all of its effort into battling them. You are that. And for that reason, at times, your life has seemed like a battlefield. You can still see this. The assaults were unsuccessful. They did injure you, yes. They did not ruin you, even if they did leave wounds. You always got back up when the enemies believed you were done. Something within of you would not let go whenever despair whispered that you could not continue. It was more than just willpower. You were sustained by God's hand. In the book of Exodus, God's voice thundered. Verse 14 of chapter 14. For you, the Lord will battle. You just have to remain still. That's the reality etched into your survival itself. Heaven waged wars on your behalf when you were at your weakest, which is why you are here now and reading these words. Think back to the evenings when despair seemed like a burden too great to bear. Consider the times you entered places grinning, yet on the inside you were inconsolable. Uncles stood by their hearts throughout such times. The invisible conflict waged in those moments as the Spirit murmured strength into your soul. However, the triumph was predetermined before the battle even started. Selected one. It is no accident that you survived. It is evidence. You were not created by accident. The proof of divine protection is you. Every season that ought to have broken you instead showed how resilient you are. Every obstacle you faced served as a springboard for your development. You stood while some gave up and others fell. You persisted. However, keep in mind that scars still exist. Your body and spirit are filled with memories of such struggles. They hurt sometimes, reminding you of what you've been through, but don't hate them. Scars are evidence of your survival. They provide as evidence that the wound was defeated. They serve as reminders that the attempt to destroy you was unsuccessful. Selected one. You weren't just getting by on your own. For others who may eventually find courage in your story, the struggles you endured were also triumphs. You're not the only one living your life. It was never just about you that was being protected. It was about the many lives that are linked to your compliance. Every obstacle you conquered gave others hope that they, too, might triumph. Therefore, when you consider the conflicts you have endured, do not shrink back. Keep your head up. Each blow to you served as evidence that you were a threat to the dark. Every storm served as a reminder that you are a light that could dispel darkness. And each triumph, even the little ones that were hidden from others, was a testament to the indelible mark of God's touch on your life. Heaven has ordained that you remain here, chosen one. No weapon, no shame, and no curse could take you away from your purpose. You are live evidence that the Lord is winning the war and that the one who has chosen you is superior to every power in hell. Allow this reality to set in. Your destiny is bigger than you think, which is why the battle for your life was so intense. Let me talk to you directly now, chosen one. You have been marked with glory in addition to surviving. Your existence has a stamp that is imperceptible to the naked sight, but indisputable in the spiritual world. It's similar to having a crown on your head already. Darkness shudders at the sight of heaven, which has imprinted you with individuality, even if you are not yet able to feel its weight. When you glance in the mirror, you may not always see this seal. Sometimes all that's visible are the questions, the scars, and the tiredness. In actuality, however, grandeur isn't always loud. Sometimes it's a silent spark under the ashes, waiting for God's perfect breath to turn it into an unquestionable fire. You own that flame. Think of yourself as a clay jar in the potter's hands, a vessel being dragged through fire, put in the furnace to be strengthened rather than destroyed. You weren't broken by every flame you encountered. You were stronger, more resilient, and more radiant as a result. That's the glory mark. Or imagine a diamond before it becomes dazzling. In the dark, it withstands unspeakable strain. You were pressured too. However, pushing was heaven's method of revealing genius. Selected one. You're not just wandering about empty-handed. Glory is being carried by you, even throughout the routine times in your life. That's why speaking alters discussions. People feel at ease around you because of this. You are more than simply human effort, even if you say nothing. You are a conduit for the divine. In the Psalms chapter 8, verse 5, David's writings serve as a reminder. You have crowned them with honor and splendor and placed them somewhat under the angels. This is who you are, crowned, honored, and marked. I now want to share a personal story with you. This kind of message spreads because heaven is urging it along. However, a community that decides to keep the light blazing like an oil-fueled lamp is also the reason they reach you. Loyal hands must pour in what keeps the flame of these words burning. Think about this if this message resonates with you and you feel the weight of glory rising within your chest. Assist in maintaining the oil flow. The flame gets higher when you want it to. The light expands into more shadowy areas as you share. Subscribing is like saying, I want to stay connected to this fire. Donating is like pouring oil into the jar to keep the lamp burning brightly. Don't misinterpret me. Just as farmers sow seeds in anticipation of a harvest, I do not say this as a call to action, but rather as an invitation. Every donation, gesture, and act of assistance plants a seed in the ground for our endeavor, and it will provide food for many others, not just you. Consider the many lives that may come upon a word like this just as they were about to quit up. That heavenly interception is made possible in part by your assistance. Perhaps this is how you can see it. You are clutching a stone while standing on the coast. Ripples extend much beyond the spot where it lands when you release it into the water. Similar to this, every action you take, like share, subscribe, or donate, has an impact, and those reverberations may affect people you've never met. Reaching people you may not know, but only because you decided to let go of what you were holding. Selected one. This is a real question for you. Allow this light to merge with yours. Allow your voice to join this one. Glory may grow if we work together. Heaven views your actions as a collaboration, even if they may seem little. I'm not the only one with the flame. It belongs to everyone who cares for it. And keep the stamp of glory on your life in mind while you take action. You're not quitting up because you're empty. Overflow is causing you to give out. You're desperate, but you're not sharing. Because you are plentiful, you are sharing. You're not signing up to listen to a voice. You are signing up for a line that has a movement that is being breathed upon by heaven itself. The beauty of being marked is this. You radiate glory wherever you go in addition to carrying it. Every move you make plants the seeds of change. That seed may be as easy as pressing a button, saying a prayer, or giving a gift today, yet heaven receives it as water for parched earth, oil for lamps, fuel for fire, and chosen one. Glory and honor are bestowed upon you. That seal cannot be broken, and the more you acknowledge it, the more confidently you will embrace the completeness of your destiny. Thus, let your light to radiate. Don't suppress it. Allow it to ripple. Set it on fire. Allow it to grow. Selected one. Take a moment to think about this. Not all of the dates on the calendar are equally important. The majority of days go by in silence, becoming part of the past without making an impression. However, there are times when heaven breaks time, when the mundane becomes sacred, and when a single day becomes a portal to fate. One such occasion is September 6th. Don't think this is another Saturday. This has nothing to do with cultural customs or human routines. It has to do with heavenly alignment. This particular time has been designated by heaven as a checkpoint, a crossing, and a spot where you may either go ahead into your calling or dwell in the unknown. You're now reading these words for that reason. It isn't a coincidence. It's getting ready. Imagine Israel standing on the Jordan River's brink. For years, they had roamed the woods. But suddenly the river divided, and they passed into promise on a certain day. That was not a typical day. Heaven had marked it. For you, that type of day is September 6th. Jordan River moment. A transition between the chapters. Through the language of Deuteronomy, heaven makes its message very clear. Verse 19 of chapter 30. I have presented you with life and death, blessings and curses, and I summon the earth and sky as witnesses against you on this day. Now make the decision to live so that you and your kids may survive. These are not just historical echoes. For you today, they are prophetic. Today is a day of decision-making, alignment, and taking a brave step into the world. Selected one. This call could seem like it's weighing heavily on your soul. Maybe you even feel resistance building inside of you. Whispering questions. Is this for me? Really? Would I really be selected? The importance of this moment is shown by that pause alone. At the point of breakthrough, the adversary always attempts to obscure the truth. However, you can't afford to stay. It's risky to delay. You may be surprised to learn how much hesitation may cost. For you, September 6th won't be an ordinary day. You run the danger of missing a heavenly window if you take it lightly. You will never be the same again. However, if you acknowledge it as holy, sacred, and a moment created by God. This has nothing to do with fear or superstition. It has to do with following heaven's timetable. Change is what you asked for. You have called for a breakthrough, and now, in the shape of divine timing, the solution is coming to you. Are you going to accept it? Will you, selected one, enter the doorway? I must ask you to answer with faith rather than quiet. At this point, you must act prophetically by not only receiving the message, but also verifying it. Enter 444 in the comment section. Why this particular number? Because solidity and foundation are represented by the number 4. It also talks of heaven solidly establishing you when multiplied. This is more than merely putting numbers on a computer. By typing 4,444, you are saying, I choose stability. I choose foundation. I choose to step into the structure God is building for my life. It's about bringing your spirit into line with the plan of paradise. Saying, I will not waver is like putting a stake in the earth. I'm not going to put things off. I'm not going to let doubt cost me this moment. It turns into a proclamation heard in heaven. When doubt attempts to reappear, your own spirit will recall your fears of darkness. Consider it akin to engraving messages on stone. They're difficult to remove once written. You are marking the choice to commemorate this point in your life's chronology when you input 4,444. Don't undervalue the impact of obedience. You are telling heaven, count me in, seal me in. I choose to step forward. Oh, and chosen one. Heaven magnifies in the open what you do in private. Your life may experience a surge of alignment just by replying, strengthening, clarity emerging, and opportunities opening, where there used to be weakness. Keep in mind that the significance of September 6th is not about pressure. It has to do with promise. It has nothing to do with fear. It has to do with faith. You are being invited by heaven to enter a moment that was planned long before you were born. You may choose to cross or stay put now that your soul is awake and your heart is awakened. Don't linger. Don't hesitate. Choose one. Allow your obedience to overpower your skepticism. Allow your actions today to be in harmony with the divinely appointed timeline of heaven. Mark this day with a proclamation rather than hesitancy. Mark it with faith rather than quiet. Make September 6th a memorable day when you accepted your fate. Selected one. You must realize that waiting might be risky. In your life, you will win certain conflicts by timing rather than force. Hesitancy is often the same tool the adversary employs to hold you back when heaven opens a window and begs you to enter. He doesn't always want to completely ruin you. Sometimes he only persuades you to put off compliance until tomorrow because he thinks there is still time. However, each delay gives darkness an opportunity to reorganize. Think about the number of occasions you were inspired to take action, pursue a goal, or make a change. You paused, however. You found out later that the moment was ended. What was previously blazing within of you dimmed as the opportunity changed. This is procrastination's quiet steel. It seldom ever makes a violent announcement. However, it gradually robs you of your destiny by persuading you to remain still while the world goes on. Don't allow hesitation to steal your calling, chosen one. Your future is based on prompt compliance rather than well-meaning intentions. You have to go through the door as soon as heaven opens it. Imagine Peter getting out of the boat and going out to sea. The moment would have vanished into terror if he had waited too long. He should have drowned, but his quick reaction enabled him to walk on it. According to chapter 18, verse 21 of the first book of Kings, the prophet Elijah said, "How long will it take you to decide between two viewpoints? Follow the Lord if he is God. Follow Baal, and nevertheless if he is God." Even still, their words resound across ages to challenge hesitancy. For what length of time will you remain undecided? How long will you allow fear to keep you from obeying? Heaven requires a decision. Select one now, not later. Mercy extends, but it doesn't last forever, so waiting is risky. Ignoring conviction may make a heart numb. Opportunities that seem endless often end abruptly, and they seldom ever reopen in the same manner. For this reason, every second counts. For this reason, doubt is not innocuous. It's expensive. Consider a soldier on the front lines. The directive is to proceed. However, the soldier pauses. The adversary reassembles during that lull, obtains an edge and reloads. Delays put not just the military, but also the people fighting alongside them in jeopardy. Similarly, others are impacted by your hesitancy. Your compliance is linked to other people. Their breakthrough may be postponed if you wait. The opponent attacks your confidence for this reason. "You're not ready," he murmurs. "Not strong enough, not qualified." He assures you that waiting is smarter and that tomorrow is safer. But his whispers are falsehoods, and you know it in your soul. In actuality, the prepared are not called to paradise. Heaven gets the called ready. You'll have to wait forever if you wait until you feel ready. Selected one. Fearlessness is not the same as courage. It's the choice to move in spite of it. You cannot wait for everything to be ideal, for every query to be addressed, or for every storm to pass. When things seem unclear, faith is walking, believing that the timing of heaven is more potent than your hesitancy. Remember that the same God who called you is also the one who keeps you alive. It is not expected of you to stroll by yourself. Every single step is bolstered by the power of the one who came before you. Delays are risky because they allow you to oppose not just your own fate, but also the hand that is reaching out to lead you. Let this reality sink in, chosen one. In slow motion, hesitation is revolt. It may seem little, yet it has a huge influence. It makes the heart harder. It dulls the soul. Additionally, it deprives you of alignment satisfaction. However, you put yourself in the stream of heaven's protection when you decide to act swiftly and choose obedience right away. The future you've been longing for is not out there. It awaits you in your upcoming obedience. The breakthrough you've hoped for, the freedom you long for. On the other side of hesitancy is the clarity you seek. Obedience was designed to disrupt cycles, but delay keeps you bound to them. Let this be a warning cloaked in love, chosen one. Avoid hovering on the brink of compliance. Don't allow procrastination to pass for knowledge. When heaven talks, take action. When the Spirit stirs, move. Hesitancy is expensive, so act when the opportunity arises. However, obedience is a precious choice. You have waited for a sign, a confirmation, or a clear voice to tell you what your soul already knows for a very long time. You prayed, "Please, God, let me know if this is you." In actuality, you are the sign, even if you've said, "Give me proof. Give me evidence. Give me something undeniable." The prophecy is playing out in real time in your personal life. Consider the trends that have been etched throughout the years. You can't explain the survival, the limited options that reasoning is unable to explain, the way you carried too heavy loads and continue to go ahead when others believe you would give up. These are not coincidental events. They are indicators of prophecy. Your trip is marked by divine fingerprints. In chapter 3, verse 3 of his epistle to the Corinthians, the apostle reminds us, as a letter from Christ, you demonstrate your identity. The outcome of our ministry was written with the Spirit of the living God rather than ink. Not on stone tablets, but on human heart tablets. Something deep is revealed by these remarks. You're not anticipating a message. The message is you. You're not looking for validation. You provide confirmation. Selected one. Truth has been inscribed on you by heaven. Each scar is a statement. Each triumph is a paragraph. Another chapter in the book God is writing through you is each time you choose to continue when it appeared simpler to give up. This is the reason why people sometimes feel hopeful when they look at your life. They are reading the live letter you carry inside of you, even if you haven't spoken a word. You could have underestimated this for too long. You believe that you need outside signals, such as voices from the clouds or lightning bolts in the sky. However, heaven has already yelled through your narrative. Sacred writings are not the only places where God's hand is evident. It lies in the fact that your goal is still blazing under the surface and that you are still living and seeking. Selected one. You've asked for direction. However, you're the evidence that direction is already available. Things that should have killed you didn't. You conquered obstacles that others failed to overcome. You are significantly wiser than your years, not only because of literature, but turn into insight as a result of suffering. Here we see the prophesy in action. You are a testament to God's faithfulness, that he never deserts his chosen ones. I don't know why, but I feel peace when you're near, or something about you feels different. These are not casual comments. Think about how frequently others around you have said these things. They are recognitions of the brightness you possess. They provide as evidence that your actions speak louder than words. You are proof that heaven continues to write the history of humanity. Ignoring this reality is dangerous. You risk missing the fact that you are the sign inside yourself if you continue to look for one outside of yourself. While heaven waits for you to accept what has already been written, you can remain still, frozen by uncertainty. The world is aware of God's existence without the need for another miracle. It requires you to embrace your whole self. Selected one. For the hopeless, your narrative is a prophesy. It informs them that I can live if they can. For those who are drowning in despair, your presence is a sign. It murmurs, light still exists even in the darkest places. Your perseverance is a miracle to those ready to give up. It screams, strength is possible even when everything feels impossible. End of quote. Can you see it now? You're not just waiting for anything to happen. You're walking on purpose. You're not just hankering for approval. You are the embodiment of it. Heaven has included you into this world's history as a signal and a live testament rather than as a spectator. And for that reason, your life cannot be disregarded. You are too radiant. You disturb too profoundly, even when you make an effort to obscure yourself. Even if you make an effort to be silent, your life is a voice and a message directing you to the person who picked you. Accept this fact without reservation. The indication you've been looking for is you. The live proof is you. You are the prophesy coming to pass in front of the audience. And when you embrace this and bravely stand by it, nothing, not even fear or doubt, can persuade you to do differently. Lift your eyes, chosen one, and discover what heaven has in store for you. You have been walking for a long time as if you were carrying an unseen burden, wondering when your turn would come and whether all of your perseverance was worthwhile. However, heaven now murmurs that your crown has been kept safe. It hasn't been forgotten, lost, or stolen. With a radiance that mirrors every struggle you overcame, it awaits you. Imagine a member of the royal family who is disguised in everyday attire. Their blood transmits power, even if they don't seem to come from a throne. Their ancestry is promising. You are that. Even if you may not always feel like a king or queen, emotions do not define who you are. It is founded on the heavenly mandate. Even before you knew it, you were selected to bear leadership, dignity, and duty. According to the ancient words found in Romans 8 verses 8 to 9, if we are children today, We are children of God and are in Christ's kingdom to partake in his glory. You're not just getting by. You're getting an inheritance. You're not only persevering. They're crowning you as the chosen one. You weren't punished for the weight you carried. It was getting ready. Your hardships have been preparing you to hold the throne, just as a soldier exercises in bulky armor before a war. Taking a throne is a serious matter. Resilience, humility, bravery, and wisdom are necessary. And you developed all those attributes throughout painful seasons. Don't allow the opponent to trick you into believing that the crown is far off. It isn't waiting for an inaccessible future. Your name is already on it, and it has been put aside. You are getting closer each time you put your faith ahead of your fear. You got closer each time you refused to make concessions. You were already wearing it in the invisible every time you put your faith in God when nothing made sense. But this is the reality you have to deal with. A crown entails duty in addition to luxury. Crowning someone signifies entrusting them. Others rely on your loyalty if you are trusted. Your road has been more difficult than others because of this. Further testing is necessary to determine the weight of effect. Your compliance has a greater effect than you may realize. You're not supposed to hide forever, chosen one. Visibility is essential for your crown. One cannot secretly occupy a throne. If a crown is buried, it cannot shine. And even though your season of concealment was required, the moment of revelation is drawing near. The proof of what heaven has already stated will be shown to those who questioned you. But even as the revealing day draws closer, you still need to get your heart ready. Wearing a crown is a sign of humility rather than pride. It is presented to serve, not to brag. Real monarchy understands that power is meant for stewardship, not dominance. You are asked to wear this crown to lead with compassion and bravery, not to raise oneself, but to uplift others by shining light into the darkness. Selected one. Now I want you to take a moment to declare, "Put my crown awaits," in the comments. These 3 words are more than just a statement. Prophecies are what they are. By writing them, you are bringing your spirit into harmony with the will of heaven. First of all, don't undervalue the impact of your statement. I am ready to step into what belongs to me. I'm not shrinking back. I claim what is mine. Atmosphere is created by words. They move the invisible. When uncertainty says otherwise, they firmly anchor your heart. Awaiting me is my crown is more than a simple assertion. You will remember that for a long time after today, particularly when despair attempts to rob you of your identity. Consider the crown, chosen one, as a light that is set inside you rather than only on your head. The crown sparkles whenever you give someone encouragement. The crown shines more brilliantly each time you avoid temptation. The crown appears in the spirit each time you speak the truth, even if it means paying a price. It's not an abstract inheritance. It is alive, thriving, and just waiting for you to give it your whole attention. Thus, keep this reality close at hand. You are crowned for your tenacity, not your flawlessness. You are picked by heaven because of who you are, not because of what you own. And there is no delay in your crown. It's kept safe. Honor and duty have been waiting on the throne. And now, selected one, so are you. The stillness is coming to an end. Heaven has not designated you to remain invisible indefinitely, despite the fact that you have been hidden for a very long time, wandering in silence, fighting your battles in solitude, and learning lessons in secret. The objective of a light concealed behind a bowl cannot be served. The sound paradise stored within a voice cannot be released if it remains quiet. You are entering a season when you need to speak with courage and spread your light in public. This has nothing to do with human recognition or celebrity. It has to do with being in line with the task that God has given you. In combat, the purpose of a trumpet is not to attract attention. Its purpose is to mobilize, arouse, and lead. That horn is your voice. That signal is your life. The call is now obvious. Get up in public. Come on ahead. Allow your light to shine where no one can ignore it. Matthew chapter 5 verse 14 has the old words. The world is brighter because of you. You can't hide a metropolis on a hill. This isn't a recommendation. It is a proclamation. Heaven itself has ruled that covering your light is not permitted. You are now able to communicate more clearly, authoritatively, and compassionately because of the hardships that formerly silenced you. Imagine a seed buried in the ground. It stays hidden for months. Furthermore, it seems as if nothing is occurring to the inexperienced sight. However, roots are growing under the surface. Strength is increasing. Life is coming together. One day, the seed emerges from the ground and moves in the direction of the light. Its expansion continues after that breakthrough. Its exposure is only getting started. Selected 1. That seed is you. You've made more than just a survival breakthrough. It's the time when heaven reveals your mission. For this reason, I now address you as a partner rather than as a messenger. Such messages spread to innumerable souls like a torrent. However, it needs channels to continue flowing, just like any other stream. Pressing like turns you into a ripple that extends the span of this stream. You're like a river branch bringing water into arid areas when you share. By subscribing, you keep in touch with the source and explore a deeper channel, ensuring that your life's flow never stops. Additionally, when you give, you act as if you're adding new water to the stream, making sure it never runs dry and keeps reaching the needy. Do not consider these actions to be insignificant. When a single stone falls into water, it causes ripples that spread out far beyond what the human eye can perceive. Similar to this, your action like share, subscription, or gift makes a difference that is incalculable. Someone could be on the verge of despair someplace, and it might be because of what you did that they come across a term that makes them back off the edge. It's similar to caring for a fire. As soon as the flame starts to flicker, you put a log on it. As the fire spreads, everyone around is warmed and given light. Your support accomplishes just that. It keeps the fire burning, making sure that this message's light never goes out and that more people find hope throughout the most difficult times. Choose one. Realize this. Heaven hasn't called me to bear this alone, and it hasn't called you to walk alone. Together, they form a perfect alliance. Something bigger than ourselves is a part of us. Every act of kindness and helpful action demonstrates that you are more than simply a hearer of the word. The light is something you are creating. What occurs when the light is constructed? In exchange, you discover yourself built. Warm for your own soul is what you weave into the flame. Refreshing for your own voyage is what you pour into the river. What you release is multiplied by heaven, becoming a gift that you could never create on your own. Therefore, remember that you are not alone as you get ready to enter this season of exposure. Your voice counts. What you do matters. Your assistance is important, like a lighthouse that helps ships navigate a storm. Your involvement helps those who are stranded at sea find their way home by maintaining a constant light. Selected 1. You need to speak out in public. Your life now serves as a live testament that is too potent to be kept secret. The light will shine brighter, the word will spread further, and the kingdom will progress in ways that the dark cannot stop if we all work together in faith, action, and support. There comes a time when compassion stops for the chosen one. This is meant to alert you, not to fear you. God's love is profound, expansive, and unwavering. However, his forbearance does not provide him the right to roam aimlessly. At some points in life, inaction may harden the heart, and persistent resistance might result in blindness. You've experienced the pull on your soul several times. You are aware of the times when conviction subtly urged you to change, comply, or give up. You are also aware of the instances in which you ignored it, promising yourself that you would reply later when you were more prepared and things were simpler. But there's a risk with every delay. Under layers of distraction, conviction may wane, and the intensity that once roused you can be muffled. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 26, the Bible makes a declaration. There is no sacrifice left for sins if we willfully continue to sin after learning the truth. The purpose of these remarks is to pierce deeply. They serve as a reminder that grace is not a limitless luxury. It's an invitation. A door cannot stay open indefinitely. You're not reading this by accident, chosen one. Heaven is saying these things to wake you up, not to frighten you. Think about the number of times doors have opened and closed in your life. Opportunities were lost because of bad timing, not because you were unworthy. Now consider what occurs if spiritual time is overlooked. When one ignores the voice of heaven long enough, the sound wanes. When there is constant resistance to light, darkness is tolerated by the eyes until it seems natural. Mercy is a wide-flowing river. Rivers, however, may change their path. Scripture cautions today, if you hear his voice because of this, don't make your hearts hard. Take note of the necessity now rather than later. It takes time for the heart to harden. Slowly, it turns to stone, one disregarded belief at a time. Selected 1. Living half awake is not what you were supposed to do. While eternity waits, you're not supposed to go through the days feeling numb. Your life is a spark that will last a lifetime, and you don't comprehend how long compassion has been with you. That close call, that unexpected escape. You shouldn't have survived that moment. It wasn't luck. Mercy was one of them. Mercy was awaiting your affirmative response. But this is the reality you have to deal with. Mercy is not a permanent state. At some point, heaven withdraws, enabling individuals to hold onto their decisions. You read with a sense of urgency because of this. Think of it as an oil-filled lamp. Heaven is telling us, beloved, do not play with time. Do not gamble with grace. This is the moment. The fire is brilliant. However, the wick goes dry if the oil is never refilled. The flame flickers and then goes out. That's the way compassion works. It burns intensely. It lights up. It becomes warmer. But if you disregard it all the time, you'll run out of oil. It is not that God is unloving. Rather, it is that God will not coerce. Selected 1. Forgiveness. Love does not stop when it pauses. It is the result of disobedience. Furthermore, revolt isn't necessarily raucous or theatrical. There are moments when it is silent, cloaked in excuses, delay, and the belief that there is still time. In actuality, however, you have no idea how many opportunities are left. The number of whispers you will hear is unknown. Thus, this is the moment. This is not a coincidence, please. Words are not wasted in heaven. Mercy is knocking again if your spirit is being awakened at this moment. Make sure to answer the door. There's a reason you were spared. There's a reason you were picked. Even those who were selected, however, have to choose between responding and resisting. Selected 1. The sensation of weight in your chest. Emotion is not the burning you feel when these words touch your spirit. That's time and eternity attempting to rouse you up before the window shuts. Whether God loves you is not the question. He never stops. The issue is, will you answer before compassion intervenes? Thus, let this portion to weigh heavily on your mind. At the verge of a threshold, you are standing. You have repeatedly been covered, protected, and saved by mercy. However, mercy is not to be misused. It is intended to be accepted. Don't throw away the covering you were given. Don't risk the patience that has kept you safe. Selected 1. As the door remains open, take a step. While the water is still flowing, move. React while compassion is still murmuring. Because quiet is what happens when kindness stops. And you were never made to carry the burden of quiet. Selected 1. Heaven sometimes issues pronouncements in ways that are impossible to ignore. They manifest as visions, whispers, epiphanies, or prophetic signs. These rulings are not arbitrary. They are your chronology crossing with the language of heaven. Rituals and superstitions have no place on September 6th. It has to do with heavenly alignment. One way heaven validates what is already simmering inside you is via prophetic numbers. Consider how patterns are used by creation itself to communicate. There is a rhythm to the sun's rise and set. The ocean's waves hit the beach with accuracy. Even your pulse follows a pattern, a numerical value that indicates how well or poorly life is going. Similarly, heaven often uses numbers as reminders that order, not chaos, is the way of the future and as symbols with timeless significance. Selected 1. Don't ignore this. In your life, numerals have appeared repeatedly at odd times, on clocks, in dreams, and in unexpected locations. You pondered if they had any significance. They did. Your steps are tallied, your days are numbered, and your route is organized, as heaven has been trying to remind you. There is nothing random about you. And choose one when these patterns show up. They are intended to awaken you, not to fear you. They are eternally mild prods. Little hints that your trip is being carefully planned. For you, what seems to be a coincidence to others is confirmation. A coded language between heaven and your soul. You're never wandering alone, I whisper. Through the prophet Jeremiah, the Spirit communicated. Chapter 29, verse 11. The Lord says, "Because I know what I have planned for you, plans to help you rather than hurt you, intends to provide you with a future and hope." These words capture the essence of God's plan, which is that your future is safe, not chaotic, and arranged according to God's plan. Therefore, prophetic numbers are not based on chance. They are alignment signals. When you step into them by faith, you are saying, I choose to agree with heaven's order. I choose to walk in step with God's plan. This is why engaging with prophetic acts is powerful. They shift your focus from hesitation to obedience, from confusion to clarity. Chosen one, you have been sensing for a long time that your life carries a unique rhythm. You do not walk like everyone else. You do not fit into the same patterns as those around you. That is because your steps are ordered differently. Heaven has woven numbers and moments into your journey as reminders that you are chosen. Appointed, sealed. Consider how often you found yourself at the right place at the right time, meeting someone unexpectedly who later played a crucial role in your story, arriving at a location just in time to be spared from danger, stumbling across words that pierced your heart exactly when you needed them. These are not coincidences. They are divine patterns, numbers in motion. Heaven's decree unfolding in your path. Chosen one, do not be afraid of this language. It is not meant to confuse you, but to confirm you. When heaven highlights a number, it is a reminder that you are not wandering aimlessly. You are walking in a design older than time. Every choice to align, every step of obedience places you deeper into that design. And now heaven invites you to mark this moment. Just as prophets in ancient days built altars after encounters with God, you too are called to make a declaration that seals what you have heard. That declaration is simple but powerful. It is a number. So as an act of alignment, type the number 555 in the comments. Do not see it as empty digits. See it as a prophetic echo. 5 is the number of grace, and tripled, it becomes a seal of overwhelming favor by writing 555. You are declaring grace is covering me. Grace is guiding me. Grace will carry me into the future. Heaven has prepared. Chosen one. Let this not be casual. Your obedience in this moment becomes a prophetic marker for your journey. You are telling heaven, telling yourself, and even telling the darkness that try to stop you, I am aligned with grace. I'm stepping into what has been written for me. Now remember, heaven does not waste numbers. They are sacred patterns, divine fingerprints left on time to remind you that your story is ordered by design. Step into this act of alignment. Let it settle deep into your heart. And know that you are carried by grace into the future that waits for you, chosen one. You have not been shaped by ease. You have been shaped by fire, by struggle, by burdens heavier than most could carry. The reason you feel older than your years, the reason people turn to you instinctively for guidance, is because your survival has birthed wisdom. What once felt like punishment has become preparation. The furnace that nearly consumed you has left you glowing with strength. And this strength is not meant to be hoarded. It is meant to be shared. You are stepping into a season where heaven transforms you from survivor into leader. Do not mistake leadership for position or title. It is not about sitting on thrones or wearing crowns of gold. It is about carrying responsibility, walking with integrity, and standing firm when others fall. It is about being a living example of perseverance, a signpost pointing to hope when all seems lost. The Word of God declares in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 3, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of despair. Chosen one, leaders are not born in comfort. They are forged in adversity. Look back at every valley you walk through, every tear you shed, every night you wondered if you would ever make it through. Those valleys became your training ground. While others were untested, you were being seasoned. While others crumbled at small storms, you endured hurricanes. And now, without even realizing it, you have become a reservoir of strength for others. People sense this when they encounter you. They may not have the words to describe it, but they feel safer when you are present. They feel hope stirring when you speak. They feel courage rising when you simply refuse to quit. That is leadership, not manipulation, not control, but influence born out of authenticity. Your survival story has become a guiding light for those still trapped in darkness. Chosen one, understand this truth. You were never meant to survive just for yourself. Your survival was always connected to others. Just as torches are lit one by one to spread fire, your flame is meant to ignite others. That is why your life has been so costly. Heaven trusted you with pain because it knew you would turn it into wisdom. Heaven trusted you with storms because it knew you would teach others how to endure them. And now the time has come. You'll find yourself placed in conversations where your words shift atmospheres. You will find strangers confiding in you without knowing why. You will see doors open where people seek not your perfection, but your authenticity. They will not be drawn because you are flawless, but because you are real. You know what it is to break, and you know what it is to rise again. Chosen one, you carry leadership not because you asked for it, but because heaven entrusted it to you. And leadership is not about being elevated. It is about being grounded. The deeper your roots in truth, the higher your branches will stretch, the more humble your heart, the more power flows through your life. Do not despise this mantle. It may feel heavy, but it is also holy. Think of Joseph, betrayed by brothers, thrown into prison, forgotten for years. Every step of suffering looked like failure, but in truth it was training. When a moment came, Joseph did not lead from theory. He led from scars. He carried compassion for the hungry, wisdom for the weary, and vision for the future. Chosen one, you are walking the same path. Your scars are not disqualifications. They are credentials. Leadership born from survival carries weight. It speaks louder than empty speeches. It comforts without needing many words. It inspires without demanding attention. That is the kind of leader you are becoming. Not one who shouts from platforms, but one who lives in such a way that others cannot help but notice. So let your story breathe. Do not hide what you endured. Share it with courage. Not for pity, but for proof. Proof that survival is possible. Proof that despair does not have the final word. Proof that chosen ones may be pressed, but never crushed. Struck down, but never destroyed. Chosen one, you are stepping into this role not for status, but for service. And though the journey ahead will still hold challenges, you now walk with authority. You have moved from victim to victor, from broken to builder, from survivor to leader. And the world is waiting for the sound of your steps. Chosen one, look around you. Can you not sense it? The world itself is shifting. There is a restlessness in creation, a deep groaning that cannot be explained by mere politics, economics, or weather. It is the sound of earth waiting, yearning, crying out for the unveiling of those who carry divine light. You are part of that unveiling. The shaking you see in the world is not chaos without purpose. It is creation making space for chosen ones to rise. And when you feel that restlessness pressing on your own spirit, understand it is not anxiety, but alignment. It is the same pulse that creation itself is carrying, a rhythm of heaven breaking into earth. The unease in your chest, the stirring that will not let you sleep, the sense that change is unavoidable. These are confirmations that you are woven into the groaning. You are not watching history from afar. You are standing in the center of it. The Apostle Paul wrote in the letter to the Romans, chapter 8, verse 19, "For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed." These words explain why you feel the heaviness of this season. The universe itself is pressing for manifestation, calling forth those who were chosen before time began. That call is pulling on you, urging you not to remain silent, not to shrink back, but to step into visibility, chosen one. This explains why everything feels intense lately. The battles, the burdens, the breakthroughs, they are all happening at once because the timeline of heaven is colliding with the timeline of earth. Just as pressure builds before a seed breaks the soil, just as contractions increase before new life emerges, the pressure in your life is proof of something being birthed. Do not misinterpret the shaking as destruction. The shaking is reordering. Old systems are crumbling, not because the world is ending, but because something new is beginning. Just as earthquakes break ground to release hidden rivers, the turbulence you see is exposing what has been concealed. This is the backdrop against which chosen ones emerge, not in comfort, but in crisis. Chosen one, the world does not need you when everything is stable. It needs you now. In the instability, in the uncertainty, in the shaking, you are not crafted for quiet seasons alone. You were designed for times like this. Your endurance, your vision, your courage, all of it becomes a beacon when others are lost.